How Zambia nationalized the economy. At independence in 1964, Zambia faced huge challenges despite its considerable mineral wealth. Kaunda said, quote, "Since independence 5 years ago, Zambia has experienced the unhealthy combination of a sharp drop in labor productivity and a sharp increase in both prices and wages. The way we have been going in the past 5 years shows clearly that the majority of us have decided to make Zambia a nation of paupers or beggars." End of quote. With only about 100 university graduates and no universities of its own, the country had very few skilled and educated Zambians capable of running the government and the economy that largely depended on foreign expertise. There were very few schools, health facilities, and other basic infrastructure to cater for a growing population. In 1968, Zambia's first president, Kenneth Kaunda, raised concerns with the two companies that owned the copper mines. Ron Select Trust and Anglo-American Corporation had put in little new money in the mines since the country's independence in 1964. The companies argued that the new royalty system by which they were taxed dissuaded investment. It was apparent that the newly elected Kaunda government could not fulfill the aspirations of its people without a solid income base for the country. Hence, President Kenneth Kaunda boldly moved in the early 1970s to nationalize the mines, and the mining companies were forced to give up 51% of shares in the existing mines to the state. In 1982, the two nationalized RST and ASC combined and formed the mining conglomerate, Zambia Consolidated Copper Mines, ZCCM. The Anglo-American Corporation, through its subsidiary, the Zambia Copper Investments, ZCI, continued to hold 27.3% of the shares. ZCI was also granted a preemptive advantage to buying back the shares that the government would offer in ZCCM at a later stage before they were offered to anyone else. Contrary to common opinion that this was a hostile takeover, ZCI was paid. The Development Corporation, ZCI, issued external negotiable bonds to pay for its shares in installments based on a December 31st, 1970 book value. Select Trust got $125 million and Anglo-American $175 million United States dollars. Earlier in August of 1969, President Kenneth Kaunda asked the owners of the mines to give up majority shareholding. He said, quote, "I do not think that the nation can achieve economic independence without acquiring full control of the existing mines," end of quote. The copper mines accounted for 95% of the country's export income and half the government's revenue. There was both political and economic pressure to this move. Zambia was still uncomfortably dependent on white Rhodesia on the south for trade and electric power. The cost of living was soaring, resulting in growing tensions between Zambia's blacks and the whites that constituted about 1.5% of the population. Recognizing the importance of the mines to Zambia, President Kaunda met with the president of Chile, Eduardo Frei, in 1967 to discuss an arrangement to help maintain world copper prices and quotas. Although there was no deal reached on price fixing, Chile's nationalization of its copper industrial base early in 1967 could have inspired President Kaunda to take similar steps in Zambia.